My hair's all wet from my shower again. You know how some people get all like dolled up to record a video and stuff? Yeah, not me! Not me! Oh, that's quite nice. That's quite nice, actually. Is it better behind the ears? Or more like... No, I think I like it like that, where it's all just like messy. Just like, you know what? I really don't give a shit. I don't know why exactly I'm inflicting my face on you for this. I've no idea. It's an experiment. We're going to see how it goes. Anyway, I'm guessing that you want to learn how to level up characters in Dragon Age Origins. So this is going to be like a basic beginner's guide, I'm probably going to call it, to leveling in Dragon Age Origins, in which I'm going to cover nothing except the attributes and which attributes you should be focusing on for which individual class. That is all I'm going to tell you, because ultimately in Dragon Age Origins that is all you need to know in order to be able to level up successfully. All I'm going to tell you is what each attribute does and which ones you need to focus on for like each individual class, because the way Dragon Age Origins works, it's very simple compared to most RPGs, in that each class has 2 attributes that basically every point needs to go into. And so long as you focus on those 2 attributes and more or less ignore all the other ones, you're kind of sorted. In Origins, the attributes are like the foundation on which everything else is built. So long as you get your attributes right, everything else will fall into place. I don't care what difficulty you're playing on, I don't care what kind of character you're playing, what kind of build you're going for, what class you're playing as, anything. So long as you get your attributes right, everything else will fall into place. So that is what I'm going to tell you, because if you're starting Dragon Age Origins for the very first time, and you're completely new to the leveling system, this is all you really need to know. So I'm going to start by going through each attribute and telling you what they do, or rather what you need to know that they do, because they all do lots of various things, but most of it you don't actually need to know. Like, I'll tell you what, I'll explain as I'm going through. So, these are our 6 attributes: strength, dexterity, willpower, magic, cunning, and constitution. And if you hover over them, they will tell you what they do. But you don't need to know all of that. You only need to know some of it. So, strength. Strength makes you hit things harder, and it makes you able to wear better armors. That is basically all you need to know about strength. So, when you are attacking with swords, daggers, or bow and arrow, whenever you hit, the higher your strength, the more damage you will inflict. For some reason, it doesn't apply to crossbows. I'm not entirely sure why, but to be honest, crossbows are kind of useless anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it. But like your warriors and your rogues, when you're fighting with swords, or axes, or daggers, or two-handed weapons, or bow and arrow, the higher your strength is, the more damage you'll inflict every time you hit. And also, you will be able to wear better armors. So if we jump over to inventory, we've got the blood dragon plate there. You see it's got... requires 38 strength. So you'll be able to wear better armors and you'll be able to hit harder. That is all you need to know about strength. Dexterity is even simpler. Dexterity makes you more likely to hit, and it makes you more likely to dodge. That's all dexterity does. So when you swing your sword, or you fire your arrows, you are more likely to hit the higher your dexterity is. And when other people swing their sword at you, you are more likely to dodge incoming hits. That's what dexterity does. Willpower. Willpower increases your stamina for warriors and rogues, and it increases your mana for those other things, mages. So if you have a look up here, the little yellow bar there, that is Elia's stamina. And she's got something active at the minute. What's she got? She's got Threaten, and she's got Shield Defense active, which is taking away some of her stamina. So if we take that off, some of her stamina comes back. So willpower just increases how much stamina you have, or mana for mages. Magic. Magic increases magic attacks. That's basically what it does. It does other things as well, so I think it increases your mental resistance, does it? Yeah, contributes to mental resistance. So your mental resistance just means how likely you are to resist spells, like if someone casts like a paralysis spell or a sleep spell. The higher your mental resistance, the more likely you are to resist it. But that's not something that you really need to worry about all that much, like when you're putting skills into attributes. I would never put a skill point into magic specifically because I want more mental resistance. It's more just like an added bonus if you're putting it into magic anyway, if you see what I mean. So it does increase your mental resistance. It also increases the effectiveness of potions. So like, you've probably noticed that when your mage drinks a potion, it does more for them than when your warrior drinks a potion, like a health potion. your warriors are going to need more potent ones than your mages, and that's partly because the magic is so much higher. So the potions are more, mages' magic is going to be higher, so potions are more effective for them. But basically, it just increases magic attacks. That's all you need to know about magic. Cunning! Cunning is a slightly odd one, because it does things like it contributes to armour penetration, as it says there, mental resistance and persuasion. But that's not a reason for putting a point into cunning. What cunning does is it unlocks certain skills, there we go, so things like coercion, you need 16 cunning. Stealing, you need 16 cunning. Trap making, you don't need cunning for trap making apparently. News to me, darling, but alright. Survival, herbalism, blah blah blah, and most importantly combat tactics, which pretty much every character will need. You need 16 cunning. And it increases rogue talents, so things like lockpicking, and also stuff like persuasion. So it's an odd one, because it just sort of like adds to certain abilities. But I would say that every character, regardless of class, needs base of 16 cunning. So that you can unlock master combat tactics and other things like coercion and all of that kind of loveliness. And finally, constitution. Constitution gives you more health. That is it. That is all constitution does. Increases health by 5 for each point purchased. Contributes to physical resistance, which is like... So mental resistance helps you resist spells. Physical resistance helps you resist being knocked over. Like when people bash you with their shield, you're less likely to fall over. But again, that's not a reason to put points in. That's just an added bonus. The only thing that Constitution really does is it gives you more health. So I am now going to tell you what is basically the secret to leveling up in Dragon Age Origins. As I've said, each class has 2 skills that you should put everything into. So I'll go through it briefly and then I'll go through it in slightly more detail. Warriors, you should be putting everything into strength and dexterity with emphasis on strength, at least initially. Rogues, you should be putting everything into dexterity and cunning with emphasis on dexterity. Mages, you should be putting everything into magic and willpower with emphasis on magic. Constitution, and I cannot stress this enough, ladies and gentlemen, Constitution is a lie. It is an evil, vicious lie put there to confuse you. It doesn't matter what class you're playing as. There is no reason to put more than maybe 3 or 4 points into Constitution in every playthrough, I would say. And I will explain why in a minute, but let's go through each class individually. So warriors. The most important thing about warriors in the early game is to get their strength up as quickly as possible. So your 2 most important stats are strength and dexterity. And I, as a general rule, put 2 points in strength and 1 in dexterity. Pretty much every level. The only time I deviate from that is if I need to put into cunning in order to unlock some of those abilities. But before you go piling points into cunning, it's important to remember that when you do the Circle Tower quest and you go into the Fade, you will have the opportunity to gain permanent increases to each of your attributes, because there's little fonts scattered around the Fade that when you click on them, they give you a permanent boost to your attributes, which lasts for the whole game. And for cunning, there is 5. There is 5 permanent increases to cunning in the Fade. So remember that before you go piling points into cunning. Like here, I've got fucking 20 cunning, which is base 18, which is being boosted. So these are all in green because it means they're being boosted. But if you hover over them, it'll show you what the base one is, and then it's +2. I think that's because she's wearing the Helm of Honleith, so she's getting +2 to every attribute. But she's got a base of 18 cunning. She doesn't need a base of 18 cunning. She only needs 16. So to be honest, I've probably put a few points into cunning there when I didn't actually need to, because then she'll have got the bonuses from going into the Fade. But yes, for the first, I mean, we're at level 11 here, and we've got, base 36 strength. Once you get up to base 42 strength, you can pull back. The reason for that is that that's the highest strength requirement for the best armors. So like massive armors, I think they're called. Those are the best armors in the game, and you need 42 strength to wear them. And you want to be getting into those armors as quickly as humanly possible, because at the start of the game, your warriors are going to be incredibly flimsy, and they will die so easily. So you need to get them into the best armors possible as quickly as possible. So every level, pile 2 into strength, and then 1 into dexterity, until you get up to level 42 strength. Then you can pull back on strength a bit, and I would start putting 2 into dexterity every time. and 1 into willpower to get you some more stamina. And you can put 1 or 2 into constitution if you really want. But I will tell you why you don't need constitution. If you've got level 42 strength and you're wearing the best armours, that is going to be giving you a lot of protection if you get hit. If you have really high dexterity, I've mentioned before that dexterity means you're more likely to hit and you're more likely to dodge. So combine those two things, you are going to be dodging the majority of attacks that come your way. And when you do get hit, you've got heavy armour to deflect most of the damage. Constitution at this point is useless. You don't need it. There is no point in putting points into it. She's actually got pretty decent constitution there. She's got 21, but she's only got a base of 15. She's got fucking +6 from somewhere, God knows where. What the hell is she wearing? Right, so she's got the Helm of Leith, which is giving her +2 to everything. She's got Warden's Oath, which is giving her +2 to constitution. I don't know where the other +2 is coming from. No idea, unless it's one of her abilities or something. I've got absolutely no idea where she's getting that other 2 points from. But anyway, she's got +6, which is brilliant. Like, constitution is really good, don't get me wrong. If you come across something that is going to give you a bonus to constitution, that's really good, because constitution doesn't hurt. But it's not worth wasting your skill points on, because by the time you've got like high dexterity and high strength and you're wearing amazing armors and you're dodging all the time, you don't need constitution. It's so much better for you to be in a better armor and to have a high dexterity. So I mean, like, now when I take Elia into battle, she's hitting almost every time and dodging almost every time because she's got freaking dexterity of 31. And that's much more useful to her than having a high constitution. So, rogues. Should we see if we can find a rogue? Liliana, there we go. Yes, because I should point out that this applies not only to your main character, but to your party as well. You should level up all of your warriors in the same way and all your rogues in the same way, pretty much. So for rogues, your focus should be on dexterity and cunning, with the emphasis on dexterity. So for rogues, I tend to put 2 into dexterity and 1 into cunning every level. And that doesn't really change very much. Rogues are a bit iffy. They're a bit like awkward, because you might want to put a few into strength if you want them to, you know, to wear slightly better armor, or if you want them to be hitting a little bit harder. You might want to put a few into willpower, just to give them a bit of extra stamina. You might even want to put 1 or 2 into constitution. But look, see, I've left Liliana with just 10 constitution. I basically just ignore it because it's pointless, because it's more important for her to have higher dexterity as well. And she needs cunning because cunning directly affects rogue skills. And that's kind of it with rogues, really. So you just pile 2 into dexterity and 1 into cunning, and I would keep doing that until the end game, pretty much. Like I say, you might find that you want to put a few in willpower if you're struggling with stamina or whatnot, but really that's it. That's a basic rule of thumb. And lastly, mages. See if we can find a mage. There's Morrigan in our stupid hat. There's Wayne in our even more stupid hat. I hate the mage hats, you know, I absolutely hate them. Like, why do they look so bloody stupid? Anyway, with mages, your 2 attributes are magic and willpower, with emphasis on magic. So I would be putting 2 into magic and 1 into willpower every time. That's kind of it, to be honest, because magic is to a mage what strength is to a warrior. So it's gonna make their attacks better and their abilities, I believe. It just sort of makes magic better, as says in the description, really. And then you need a lot of willpower because you need a big pool of mana, because mages rely on their abilities a lot more than rogues and warriors do. They need to be able to spam abilities a lot more. So you need a huge pool of mana for that. They don't really need dexterity as much because mage attacks can't miss, ever. Mage attacks just can't miss, so you don't need dexterity. And also, if you're playing right, the enemies should never get close to your mages. which is why they don't really need to be able to dodge, and they also don't really need high constitution at all. Of course, there will be those RC enemies that will break through your front lines and get to your mages, but that's why mages have abilities like Mind Blast and Paralyze and Crushing Prison and Winter's Grasp, things to stop the enemies if the enemies get close to them, which is why they need a lot of magic and mana. So like, giving your mages constitution isn't going to help them, and giving them dexterity isn't going to help them much either. Things do change a little bit if you're playing as an arcane warrior, but I think we'll leave that for another video. That's an entity in its own right. This is just a basic guide. So yeah, that's kind of it. That's how you level up in Dragon Age Origins. It's very simple. Your warriors are there to take all of the hits, so they can take a lot of damage because of their heavy armour. And they can dodge a lot of incoming hits because they're the ones who are going to be up on the front lines. So they need to be able to hit a lot, dodge a lot, and wear heavy armours. Your rogues are basically just sort of there to kind of dance around and inflict extra damage where they can, so they have a lot of dexterity so that they can dodge and hit a lot, and also a lot of cunning because it improves their abilities. And your mages are there to stand at the back as huge powerhouses who can just spam abilities. They can heal, they can attack, they can do all of this. They need a lot of mana and they need a lot of magic, and each class just needs to focus on what they're good at. Don't try and spread points around in Origins because it just screws you over in the end. You just need to focus on what each class is good at, and that's it. That's it. That's how you do. That is, I mean, that's what I do, I'll be honest with you. This comes from 10 plus years of playing Dragon Age Origins. This is just like the conclusions I've come to. There may be a better way. You might disagree with me. Maybe other people have other methods. All I'm saying is I play this game on Nightmare difficulty and I don't even really blink. Like, the game plays itself when you get to a certain level. When you get to, like, about this point, we're at about level 11. And right now, when I go out with my team, I basically hardly need to tell them anything. The game plays itself. They just look after themselves because they've got the right foundation of attributes. And that's all you need in Origins. You need a basic, stable foundation of attributes. And upon that, you can build whatever you want. Anyway, I'm going to go now because I think I've told you everything I need to tell you, and my phone is running out of memory, so the video is going to just cut off at random at some point. Also, I'm pretty sure like my hair is pretty much dried now, so that's good, isn't it? My hair was wet at the start of the video and now dry at the end. That's brilliant. It's also shorter than the last time you saw me, isn't it? Yeah, because I had it cut. I think I need to have it cut again because it was up about here and it was a really nice length, and now it's grown out a bit and it's lost its shape. You know what, I don't always look like as much of a tramp as I do when I decide to record videos. It's just I always record videos when I like come in from work at the end of a long day and I look a bit haggard. That's why I don't do face cams in my Let's Play videos. Anyway, yes, I'm going now because I'm pretty sure my phone's about to run out of memory and then the video will just cut off, and that wouldn't